Hello and welcome to this Eyes of Harmony first thoughts on the Ghost Monument. So let's just go from the start. I'm Nick and the guy is Comrade.
No, we're going for the
Let's go
end.
for the end. So the end credit sequence, I loved it. I mean, it was the same as last week,
Yeah,
but
it was exactly the same as last
yeah.
week.
But okay, opening titles, loved them.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to, of course, the original couple of, well, actually, more or less the title screens of the first three Doctors. More William Hartnell, but it kind of has that
It's
effect.
got a bit of yeah, Pertwee in it
It's what they, yeah, so it's basically kind of more or less what they would have done if they'd had the technology to
to do it.
do the original title screen on a bigger budget, more or less, the pulsating, the more staticness to it. Yeah, really like that. Really like that.
Yeah, I like seeing the logo, the new logo in it. It looks good. Colors great. Music goes really well with it. I love how it's like it pulls you in. It's the first one without the TARDIS for a while though, which is interesting.
Yeah,
No TARDIS, so that's cool. But yeah,
indeed.
I didn't mind the fading in of the titles. The one I did find really weird though was having the producer Nikki Wilson in there. Like that's a bit of an odd one.
Hmm.
Especially when like Chris Chibnall's name wasn't in there, but oh well,
Yeah.
it was just just struck me as odd really that her name appeared and Chris Chibnall's didn't. I got the
Just didn't.
director,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we continue on from last week. They get picked up by the two people racing. I thought it was a really good concept. The sets were great for
Yeah.
both spaceships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really
But I
did
mean,
like the
just
sets.
all. I mean, more or less. Actually, just all visual aspects of this episode was excellent. More or
Yeah,
less, like all the scenery, all the colours. I
it
mean,
was
all
so
of the
vibrant.
how they actually. Yeah. Thing is that at least to me, that was most of it. Really. I put here like as a specific phase. It was very much a lot more style over substance this episode.
I would agree. It looked amazing, but I mean, episode was interesting, like on how he was made rough and his mum and everything. But it was very much the story was kind of more kind of focusing still on Ryan and Graham's relationship. I think Yaz is gonna
Yeah,
come later. She's like
yeah,
they're.
because Yaz has been completely useless up to this point.
I mean,
Like
she
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 hasn't
did
done
have.
anything.
It was. I liked this episode, but it just started to drag when they got to the boat, and it
Well,
felt very like all these conversations were happening at once. About Ryan and Graham, and they need to talk about Grace, and then it
well,
was
that's
her mentioning about her family, and Epso talking about his mum, and then Yaz just chirping in about her family. Like everyone was just like family all stars. It's like this is me
yeah,
and this is my story, and it was just very all at
yeah,
once.
and actually, what the message itself. I mean, especially with the guy, was just, oh, friends are good plot. It's about as generic as you could get. Like, and
Thing is,
they do
they
it
didn't
really
as
poorly.
they didn't super play it like that because at the end he was still like, "I want to win." It was a doctor here to tell them to uh to agree.
Well, no, but he was more comfortable doing it. He kind of had warmed
Yeah,
up to him, you know.
yeah, I know
If
it was.
it had been him in the early in the episode, he would have just run. But at the same time, that transition from him to getting to that point was so quick. Like, it was. I get that he was being suffocated, but at the same time, we should have a scene between that, because that was his entire life philosophy there, and he just drops it. Just struck it out.
So
Because friends are good. Friends are good.
we got a
And
couple of interesting things though through this episode. The two arcs. The Stenza are returning. I fucking called it. Knew it. Knew it was gonna
yeah,
happen. Knew it.
just
Just the way that he escaped at the end instead of just dying. I was like, yeah, yous are coming
mm,
back. Tim
yeah.
Shaw, the return of Timmy
Mm.
Shorus. But yeah, I mean it's okay. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. I'd like to visit their ice planet. Go to
Mm.
their turf or something. Um, it's interesting because I mean, like Chibnall lied about there being no arc, where there clearly is, and then we've got the timeless child kind of thing,
Mm.
where the remnants, the cloth creatures, which I thought were a bit, meh. Um,
Visually nice, but they didn't. Yeah, they were on screen for so little time that it didn't really mean anything.
yeah, but the timeless child arc sounds interesting. It's intriguing. I'm interested where they go
Mm.
with it. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I
The
mean, can't really talk much about it until we find out a bit more. But I'm
More or
glad they do
less,
have an arc in it.
yeah. But the way they found this out, alongside all the other answers, was once again a lot more of a just a clump.
Mm,
Like, I like the beginnings of the episode to some degree because they're trying to build up this whole mystery vibe. They're going without knowing. The Doctor, for once, doesn't know everything as soon as she's there.
mm,
So I like the idea of them building up a mystery. But the issue is that both in the first episode and here, they just chucked everything out in a clump. Like, the first episode, Tim Shaw just stood there and explained us. And now it was just written on the floor. Everything. All the answers. Just there. All at once. So it's like, come, please, build
yeah.
up. Find more to go along. Don't just... Because that makes it so much more... Well, it's just more boring, really.
I thought the sniper robots were a bit uninspired. I don't know. I found them a little boring, really.
Yeah, well, again, they were... Yeah, I mean, they were just robots. I mean, they look visually... I mean, yeah, they were nicely made and... but...
I liked Ryan
Yeah.
using the gun.
Oh, that was probably the best scene in the entire thing. Was just running out, trying to do cool, juicy stuff, and then running back in.
Yeah, it was like, where's the reach? Where's the refill? Whatever. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's nice to see that the comedy finally worked.
Yeah, that was really good.
After
I
lots
think
of...
if they ever do comedy, it needs to be more
Better.
Tonson as Ryan who delivers it. I think Tonson's he's naturally quite funny from like interviews I've seen him in. Like he's quite a funny person. Or Graham. I mean, I think Bradley Walsh never fails to. I don't think he's had a comedic moment yet, which I haven't
because that's
laughed
not the
at.
kind of... Yeah.
I love Bradley
Well,
Walsh. I look forward to it.
what?
He's gonna
Yeah.
die though.
What?
I see Graham dying,
Oh yeah.
and then that will be when Ryan finally calls him Granddad or some shit like that, or he'll call him Granddad, and then he'll die. It'll be one
Or
of
we'll have
them.
to or we'll have to reverse it and Ryan dies before...
That would actually be pretty out there. I kind of wouldn't see that coming because it just.
Well,
they
now
set
that I
up,
mentioned it, you would.
Well, now it's going to be in the back of my head. I'm going to be like, oh my god, they're all going to die.
I was right.
But so I
one
worked
thing-
out.
Oh,
I worked out quite early that the TARDIS was the Ghost Monument, and I'm glad that they didn't try and make it a secret for the entire episode. I'm glad he just showed them the hologram and was like, "Yep, that's it." And I was like, "Yeah, cool," because it was pretty easy to guess. Like, it made sense. Like, I was just like, "Ah, there we go."
Yeah, it's phasing him
So
out.
the new exterior I like. Interior, I'm not too sure on it yet. I think lights and everything visually beautiful, but I don't know. Part of me is a bit unsure on what I think of it because the last TARDIS was my favorite, so this one was always going to be quite a difficult one. But I definitely like the color scheme with the blues on the outside and then the oranges kind of towards the center. That I really like. The crystal is cool. I'm just wondering. I'm not sure the middle bit's going to move up and down. I hope it does, but it doesn't look like it
Yeah,
will.
because that would be weird if they don't, because everyone has. Every single TARDIS has.
Yeah, it has. Even if it was just a bit inside the glass, you know, like
Minus a secondary control room, but that doesn't really count anyway.
And that one you kind of forget about anyway, as clearly I just did. But yeah,
one detail I appreciated was that they had the the outside of the TARDIS fully modelled into the front of the ship.
Yeah, it makes more sense, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, it kind of removes the issue that they had in the classic series.
Yeah, and then it's like when you walk in, it's like now you understand in the classic series that they were just seeing that part of the wall, like, you know, because you always saw inside it. So now it makes sense. Like, it kind of fixes that in some ways.
Well, except for the fact that the doors in the classic series were clearly these white big lumps.
Well, yeah, because they could have been further in. There could have been 2 sets of doors.
Well, I think Unearthly Child alone kind of, because if you remember, she runs straight in, and it's.
I guess so, yeah. Well.
Yeah,
but
it was an attempt. I have several other issues with this episode, really, as well. Just on top of that. Firstly, actually, I guess going back to the classic series one, the sonic screwdriver. I've never had an issue with them overusing it, despite them removing it for that purpose alone. But in this episode, really, really overused. Like, it was excessive. She had it out like every 2 seconds.
It was. I noticed that. I understand it helping the TARDIS back in. I got that. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but
it's not like she shouldn't use it. It's just that was.
It was like the manhole cover. Why did the Sonic have to open it? It's literally a turning mechanism. Like, just turn it yourself.
It was that. It was the robot. It was all the computer systems. It was basically all the water, which was so painfully underutilized. I thought they were going to do something with that, and it just.
I thought like Epso or something was going to fall in the water and die or something. It was just.
But friends are good. Nobody dies,
and
I think that's my biggest issue with this episode, just in general. It's just they introduce a race concept, a race, you know, that means the world to both of them, you know, and they do nothing with it. They just go along together as if it's nothing. There's no tension. There's no, you know. I think the moment they said that they could
win.
Yeah, there's nothing. The race doesn't matter. They're just going on an adventure together. So it's like, you know, firstly, the first thing I would have done is not, you know, I think how I would have done it is if we had split the TARDIS crew the way that we did in the opening when they're crashing the ships. They land 2 different parts of the planet and have to head inwards separate ways, facing separate dangers. I felt would have been far more interesting. Instead, they crash all together and we go on a boring road trip.
A bit like, it should have been a bit like Keys to Marinus, like, you know, where they're split up and they're slowly working their way further and further towards the goal.
Something like that. And, you know, also the rule about them not killing each other. I could have, you know,
killing, but they could have had, like, you know, injury.
If they were separated, that could have been more interesting if they get to a point where they, you know, get together and it's like the journey that they've been on has changed them in order to make sure that they don't kill each other, rather than, you know, or something like that, as opposed to just being told it.
Yeah.
But no, instead we're just all together because we're friends, except for this guy's a bit grumpy, and it just, there was no tension in this episode, minus I guess when the robots were there.
And the remnants.
But both of them are on screen for so little time. Like, they try to play up this mystery that never goes anywhere. Again, and that's revealed all in one clump. So it's like, yeah, this episode was not great. I mean, it's not awful, but it's it. I mean, in terms of the dialogue and whatnot, it was stepped down from last week. In terms of visuals, it was great, but in terms of everything else, it was just so lacking.
Yeah, I'd say it wasn't exactly a bad episode, but it's definitely not one I could sit through easily again, because I watched episode 1 again just before this, and actually on a rewatch it was really, really good still. At no point did I find myself actually bored. Pacing was so impeccably good in the first episode. Like, I generally, like, we got to the end bit and I was like, holy crap, like, I haven't actually felt bored, and this is like an hour long, so the first episode is solid.
Yeah, it's not mark of a good one. I was actually almost falling asleep during the first half.
Really
I
good.
gotta admit. Yeah, I mean, it does pick up in terms of pacing in the second half, so at least you're watching. But at the same time, all this slow dialogue bits and, you know, slowly walking through the desert. And, oh yeah, there was one other bit. There was, that kind of bugged me. Was, when they're all around the ship and whatever the woman's name was talking to Jazz about Jazz. Yeah, just
your pet.
I'm thinking of my pet bearded dragon. Yeah. Yes.
Angstorm or Storm.
Yeah.
Angstrom.
Yeah. So they're talking, and Angstrom's just like, you know, they're trying to be a sympathetic moment. She's just like, "Oh, I don't have to tell you anything," and then like literally like 3 minutes later or something, she's talking to everybody on the ship. It's just like, what was the point in that? What? You could have just cut the first bit. You didn't need that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Ilan was interesting. I liked his character. I liked how he just left the Doctor behind. I like that. I liked how he didn't change or become good or anything. He just did it for his own life. I like that, you know, he was just a bad person, and it was just that.
No, there was a clear change in by the end, but at the same time, you know, I mean,
I like how the Doctor loses hope, actually, and it has the companions are the ones who were like, "Don't give up." You know, that was a nice.
Yeah,
moment.
that feels a bit weird on this Doctor's personality up to now. It was kind of a.
I also like the line "Come to Daddy, Mummy." It's like, you know, it's like the Doctor doesn't really like still acknowledge that she's a woman at the moment. Like, you know, just a small thing. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, I need to see the TARDIS more before I can make my judgment. Like,
it's one that I think will grow more.
Capaldi's one didn't become my favorite until way into like series 9, I think, and then I was like, God, I actually love this TARDIS design.
Yeah. For me, it's like the console I'm not so sure about, and maybe also the crystals, but the wall itself I really quite like, with the blue lights in it and everything. Kind of considerably more. I mean, it's still very different to the roundy things, but at the same time, it kind of gives off a bit of that vibe, despite being a lot darker.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is that next week is a historical one, so hopefully we'll see the TARDIS a bit in flight, and we'll see. I'm guessing the Doctor tries to take him home and misses it. I don't know, when did the Rosa Parks thing happen? What year was that?
We didn't study American civil rights and history, so that would have been
about 1920s.
It would have been around the 50s or. No, it would have been later than that.
Let's see.
Wasn't it around the 50s?
Oh, yeah, 1955. Yeah.
Hey,
okay, nice one.
Yeah, because that makes sense, because that's one of the events that set into motion.
Yeah,
you know,
the bus driver.
Yeah, that was an important event, but yeah, it wouldn't have been that as early as you said, because.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting, because I thought she was going to get, like, you know, like 100 years out or something, maybe, you know, it would have worked out. But okay, just a random. I wonder if it's by choice then they go back in time, or I guess we'll see. Well, it looks interesting though. We've got a guy in a leather jacket firing lasers and stuff. So it's written by Mallory Blackman and Chris Chibnall. So that'll be interesting. And then the next two after that are just by Chris Chibnall, surprisingly. So
which is actually a little slightly concerning.
Episode 4,
because this was written by Chibnall too, right?
Yeah,
and maybe this is an indication that he's spreading himself a bit thin.
Yeah,
like ending up with the same problem Moffat had. I'm actually kind of concerned about
Moffat's
the scripts
first
now.
series 5, was actually he's arguably his best in some ways.
Yeah, well, I think he still had a script writer then, didn't he?
I think Chippendale might as well, actually. But I don't know. But yeah, so
But yeah,
episode
I think
4 is titled
sorry.
Arachnids in the UK, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Then the next one is a spacey one again, which is the Suranga Conundrum? Suranga? I think that's how you say it. Suranga Conundrum.
I don't know.
And then we got The Demons of the Punjab, which is written by Vinny Patel. So that's on the 11th of November. So we got all the episode titles up to number 6 now, which is quite cool. So
Yeah.
it looks like a good spread. Like, you know, few present day, few historical, few outer space. So it's
Yeah.
nice. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I'm wondering if Stenzar are gonna appear before, or if they're just gonna arrive in the finale.
I think we're going to get a few more references to them.
Probably references, yeah.
But I think probably we'll wait to the finale in order to get like a proper payoff, because I think that's kind of how they're building it.
It's kind of weird though, because this is exactly what I said to do for the Daleks. Just like not show them, just talk about their threat growing and stuff, and everyone's lives being affected by them. But no, they do it for the Stenza. But oh well, can't really complain. It's a new interesting villain, and at least it'll be interesting, because what if the other Stenza take other trophies? So someone has their like face covered in tongues, or like fingernails, you know, like.
Or maybe I'm thinking a bit as my character, the play I'm doing, but like bits of people's face.
Yeah, like just skin.
Yeah, just like a Denzar with like, you know, different bits of various alien skins spread across its face.
Oh yeah,
Kind of messed up, but it's
it'd be cool. But yeah, I can imagine the Stenzar becoming they have quite a good look, quite iconic. So it'd be interesting to see. I would like to see their planet though, their ice planet. That'd be very cool. But yeah, so that's kind of it for this week. So I'd say last week The Woman Who Fell to Earth was better than this week's Ghost.
Oh, easily, like by far.
But I still have hope. Acting was still good and everything. Let's see what Rose was like. It looks interesting. It looks very much like the Shakespeare's Code, where they're like, "Are we leaving?" And it's like, "Not in a million years." Like, you know, I think at one point they run away. No, which episode is it? There's one where they're running away or something, and the Doctor's like, "We never run." Oh, it might be a Matt Smith one actually. It's one where they're going back to the TARDIS or something, and the Doctor's like, "We never run away," or something, like, because like they think he's running away, and it's like, "I never run away," kind of thing. Can't remember what that one is now.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I just can't place it off the top of my head.
Yeah. Where the hell did that happen? Vampires of Venice, maybe?
Perhaps. It's been so long since I've properly sat down and watched Series 5. I don't think I give that season enough credit just because I haven't watched it in so long. I have to get around to that one of these days.
It's enjoyable. It is. If I want to go back to any Matt Smith one now, I kind of look at Series 5. But yeah, so... yeah. It'll be interesting. So comment below what you guys thought of the most recent episode. The episodic adventure of Doctor Who. Yeah, and we'll see you next week for Rosa. Nice historical one. Let's see if they...
Sorry if we're late, by the way.
They could do it. Yeah, sorry we're late. Life is busy. Conrad's in a show, and university is just killing me. Along with a job, which is now putting me on way too many shifts. Life. Don't you just love it? But yeah, so we'll see you guys next time for Rosa. I wonder if I have a reference to Rose, like just a throwaway line, possibly. I don't know.
Well, I mean the name's different, so yeah, I wouldn't expect it necessarily.
We've had an episode called Rose, and now an episode called Rosa. So now we need one called Rosie, and then Rouge, and Yeah, just every episode has to be titled R.
Ros F.
Rosif.
Rosiv.
Ra. It just keeps going, just R's. I wonder if they'd do that just to...
Rasputin. We need nothing but-
Rasputin. That'd be such a
With
cool
Tom
episode.
Baker.
That'd be amazing, like an old Rasputin who's still alive after all those times he almost died.
Yeah,
it turns out he's an alien or something.
That'd actually be, that'd be pretty darn cool if they explained the reason why he just wouldn't die. Yeah, and that would be.
BBC hire us now. We got a story. That'd be really cool.
Mr. BBC, I have an idea. I think you'd like it very much. Please take my idea, because I like it very much. And he likes it very much.
What voice
know
are
what?
you doing?
I don't know.
It sounds like Alpha Centauri.
Welcome to the universe.
Oh boy. But anyway. Venusian Aikido. That was a cool thing.
Oh yeah,
And that's it. That's all I have to say. That was a thing and it was cool. Right. See you next week, guys. Bye.